It's an early morning of October 8th, 2022. At approximately 6 a.m., the policeman checks the truck that travels from Russia to the next part of Ukraine. After a brief talk with the driver, the policeman takes a look inside. Seeing only some industrial film, policeman decides to come back to more important business and lets the truck continue its journey to the Crimean Peninsula. The only way to get there is via Kerch Strait Bridge, which connects the Russian mainland with the territory of Ukraine, occupied by Russia in 2014. The policeman, however, did not realize that the truck that he has just inspected will never get to the end of the Crimean Bridge. As the Russia is currently in the midst of invasion of Ukraine, with a massive southern front to support, they used the Crimean Bridge as the safest supply route for their troops. It has 4 lanes in total and 2 railroad tracks, which allows for transporting pretty much anything for the war effort. Moreover, the above-mentioned truck, as well as the train that also travels the bridge on October 8th, were not only checked by police, but also scanned by a special system ST-6035 that is designed to identify trucks and trains with any dangerous or illegal cargo. The skies above the strategic object are covered by multiple SAM systems, such as new S-400 to prevent any Ukrainian missile attack or bombardment. Arguably, the Crimean Bridge is one of the most heavily defended strategic objects in Russia. Meanwhile, as the fuel train overtakes the truck, the cargo inside the vehicle has actually arrived at its destination. A huge explosion tears the truck apart, destroying nearby cars, multiple bridge spans, and setting the train on fire. One of the most defended strategic objects in Russia was just successfully attacked. Once the smoke disappears and the sun rises, the scale of the damage becomes evident. 2 vehicular spans of the bridge collapsed into the water. 2 adjacent eastbound lanes on the independent structures survived. The railway bridge was also significantly damaged by fire on the railway tanker cars. 5 people in the truck and nearby cars were killed. After firefighting procedures and damage assessment, the bridge was reopened to light road traffic on 1 lane. The same, however, cannot be said about the railroad tracks. This made Russians rely on supply routes in the occupied part of the southern Ukraine that are within the range of Ukrainian artillery. The attack was also a huge moral boost for Ukrainians and humiliation for Russia, since the bridge served as a symbol of annexation of Crimea. In 2018, the road bridge was opened by Russian President Vladimir Putin and presented as one of his greatest achievements in 18 years of ruling. It's also worth mentioning that the bridge was constructed without Ukrainians' consent and was deliberately built in a way to limit the access of Ukrainian ships from the Black to Azov Sea. There are 3 main versions of the source of explosion. The first and the most convincing one is the truck. It was presented officially by Russia and was approved by anonymous Ukrainian officials who contacted BBC. The multiple videos of the explosion also show that the truck was in the center of it. The detonation was precisely timed because the truck was right between 2 concrete piers and close enough to a train, which allowed the bomb inside to inflict the maximum damage. The driver had no idea about the bomb and was hired to transport industrial film reels, which were filled with explosive on Russian territory or in another country. The Russian authorities presented the presumable X-rays of the truck that exploded, but the vehicles on the video and on the X-rays have different number of wheels, which tells us that it must be a fake picture. There is also a version about maritime drones and bombs installed under the bridge. Both of these options are theoretically possible, but way too hard to orchestrate compared to the truck bomb. The drone has to be large, and the explosion must be powerful enough to damage the bridge while originating at the water level. The same goes for using the stationary bomb under the bridge. It's extremely hard to deliver and install the needed amount of explosives without attracting unwanted attention. Moreover, it's highly unlikely that an explosion under the bridge could have also damaged the train on the tracks that is much higher than the road. As the last piece of puzzle, the explosion occurred the day after the 70th birthday of Russian President Vladimir Putin, and only 1 week after the announcement of annexation of 4 Ukrainian regions by Russia. In conclusion, the attack on the Kerch Strait Bridge stays one of the most mysterious accidents in the full-scale Russian invasion of Ukraine. However, the lack of details should not overshadow the significance of the event. Even though nobody officially claimed the responsibility for the attack, with a high degree of certainty we can conclude that it was orchestrated by a single interested party, Ukraine's intelligence services. The attack degraded Russian logistics and morale, showing the inability of Putin's regime to protect its own strategic objects. The Crimean Bridge explosion is another striking example of Russian incompetence in protecting itself, and a success for Ukraine, which persistently takes necessary steps to restore its territorial integrity.